this is Biophoenix here, and today's game is King's Knight on the Nintendo Entertainment System, but was also for the MSX and later on ported to the Wii Virtual Console, and was released in 1986 by Squaresoft, which is now known as Square Enix. But did you know that this was Squaresoft's first game that was made overseas, which, to be honest, I never knew that for a long time, but yes, that is actually true. But now you're probably wondering why I'm not showing any gameplay yet. Well, look at the box cover and tell me what you think. Does it perhaps look like an RPG or possibly an adventure game? Well, let's go see what it looks like, alright? Okay, seriously, what the fuck are we looking at here? Well, it kinda looks like a space shooter, but minus the space. So that would mean it could be a medieval shooter? If that even exists. Alright, it's just a scrolling shooter, okay? But I never thought I would ever see a knight shooting shit and destroying mountains and blowing the fuck out of everything though. Alright, so let's just move on to the story now. It's your pretty typical princess is kidnapped by people in the kingdom of Izander, I hope I pronounced that right, and you must kill the dragon and must rescue her. Alright, so it's pretty basic. But there is a good variety of characters to use, like Rajak the Knight, Kaliva the Wizard, Barsla the Monster, and Toby the Thief. But yes, I am pretty well aware that I fucked up on the monster's name, but you know what, just fuck it, because I can't pronounce that shit. But it almost sounds like Bulbasaur for some weird reason. I don't know why, but I just think of that all the time when I see that name. But when you are playing as these characters, you are also playing on different stages too, which is kind of weird. And you also don't know what the hell is getting thrown at you anyway. But one thing that really needs to be said about this game is that this game is fucking hard as balls. And you're probably gonna die a lot, because this game does not fuck around. But I'll give you one tip of advice when you're playing this game, is that do not shoot mountains when you're directly right behind them, because you won't know what's behind them and you'll easily be killed faster than you can say fucktard. Fucktard! Speaking of which, with the life bar that you have, you seem to die very quickly, but when you pick up health with these like arrows that are pointing up, you hardly get any health. And then at the same time, there's also arrows that point down, and when you pick up those ones, they bring your health down. So that means there's a lot of fucking hazardous. But let's move on from the fucked up side of things, and let's go on to how it plays. The controls for this game are actually pretty good, so there's not a whole lot I can say about that. But there is one weird thing though. The B button is never even used once, and the A button is to shoot, which is pretty self-explanatory, but the one thing is that it really wears down your fingers pressing that one button each time when you have to keep on shooting everything. So basically using a turbo controller is quite wise, but other than that it's quite fine as it is. Now the graphics are really good for a 1986 game, but there are some weird things that you do see in the game that you can't tell what they are, but you know what, it's not really something that really kills it, so it's all good. As for the music, I really do like it, and it is really catchy. In fact, the music in this game was composed by Nobu Uematsu. I really hope I said that right, because I'm pretty much fucking over everyone's name in this video, as it seems. But the composer Nobu Uematsu has also made the music for Final Fantasy, and I also do believe he also did compose it for Earthbound. Correct me if I'm wrong though. But one thing though, I really do wish they made more songs when you're using the different characters, because it's always just the one song that's repeating over and over again, which can get a little bit annoying at times, but that's just the only thing I have with the music though, is that they really should have had more variety of songs. One thing I forgot to mention though is that to get to the next stage, you have to at least survive with one guy. And when you get to the next stage and you actually die, then you're pretty much fucked. You have to restart all over again. And this is one of those games where there isn't as many levels in the game, but they're all hard as fuck. But I personally am not a fan of that because you get tired of playing the same shit over and over again. But I have at least got to stage 2 once by surviving with someone, but that doesn't really happen often, and also I couldn't even do it when I was actually recording this, so just fuck it. There was one sequel to this game, and it was called King's Knight Special, but it was only in Japan on a Japanese computer, so it's most likely that I won't be able to review that one. Now this game is not that expensive surprisingly, so if you want to buy this game, I would at least say it's actually not a bad pickup. Now if I were to rate this game, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. Now it is quite fun to blow the fuck out of everything, and it does look nice, and it does sound nice, and it does play very well, but the thing is that I think it's just very difficult. But don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with difficulty at all. It's just one thing I just find it to just be a little bit on the downside for the fact that it can be a little bit too difficult at times. Now I know there is a ton of other games that are a lot more harder than this one, but this one isn't too bad though for its difficulty. It's just a little bit, but not too much though, like there's a lot worse out there. But if we have to think on a positive note though, at least it's better than Silver Surfer. But it's still a pretty decent shooter game though. But another thing I find is that the game can be a little bit misleading for its cover, because, you know, like I said, it looks almost like an RPG or an adventure game, but it's actually a scrolling shooter game, which kind of threw me off for a second. But overall, it's not a bad game, but it's not an amazing game either. So I really hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching and commenting.